In order to use Desmos to find our statistical measures, which is our mean, our median, our mode, our range, our standard deviation, any of our quartiles that we want to find, we've got to first understand how to use a table. If we go into Desmos and we open the screen and we click the plus sign and we click on the Table tab, this allows us to create an XY table. Now we only need one variable, so we don't need X and Y, I just need X. So if I enter my numbers in, 5, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 9 numbers now. And I have these entered into the system. So Desmos can now read these numbers, and it's going to be able to interpret kind of what the statistical measures are. Now, what I have to make sure I realize is that this is in the X1 column. So anytime that I'm finding the mean, or I'm finding the median, or the standard deviation, I want to tell it I want to find the mean of X1, because all of this information now is in a 9-element set in X1. So like we said, to save us a little bit of work, the mean would be the average. So we would add all those numbers up and divide them by 9. Now, the nice thing is Desmos will do it for us. So if I tell it to find the mean of X1, it gives me the mean, which is 9.11. Now realize, if I just put the mean of X, it gives me this warning and says, I don't know what you're doing. And you can see over here now, all it does is give me a graph of X. So I've got to make sure I put mean of X1 and get 9.11. So if I added all those numbers up, divide them by 9, it gives me 9.11. The median, so the middle number of this set of data, normally we would have to put all of our numbers in order and then go through and cross them off to find the middle number. For this, we just put the median of X1, it puts them in order for us, and it finds the middle number, which would be 10. Now, the one problem with Desmos, there is no mode command. So I can put mode of X1 and it doesn't give me anything. It says mod E of X1. So I've got to go up here and I just need to know what mode is. Mode is the most common number. If I look at it, none of these numbers repeat, so actually I would not have a mode in this case. So that's the one problem. The other thing that we run into is if we want to try to find the range of X1, it doesn't give us anything. Okay, but since we're smart, we can say, well, the range is the max minus the minimum. So if I find the maximum value to be 15, the minimum value to be 3, I can subtract those and find that my range is 12. So there's ways to get around that. Now if I want to find the quartiles, so remember the quartiles, we break the information up into 1/4 sections. I can find quartiles, it's a little bit tougher. If I want to find the quartiles of X1, I have to tell it which quartile I want it to be. If I want to find the first quartile, it'll give me the first quartile, which is 5.5. If I want to find the third quartile, I've got to tell it the third quartile, which is 12.5. If I want to find the second quartile, I can put in 2, but we already found that because the second quartile is the same as the median. They're both 8/10. Then the last thing that we talked about finding was our standard deviation, which tells us how spread out that information is. I can put standard deviation of X1, and it gives me about 4.04, 4.05. So on average, those numbers are about 4 numbers away from each other. But this is just a nice little trick. Helps us to put in a set of information, kind of eliminates having to put it in order, and it allows us to let technology help us out a little bit.